But considering you lost your captain after 10 minutes,
Yeah.
your main playmaker there, and they had a lot more shots than you, but your defence held resolute throughout. Just your feelings about the overall performance, please.
Well, defensively, we've been solid from the very day I walked through the door, and I'm sure that many of you had followed what we had done and achieved in that period of time of the cup competition, where we scored 19 goals and only conceded 2. Here we are again into the new campaign, and defensively we had to defend pretty much for a period of time during the game. And we have built, this is something that we wanted to introduce into the team, because we often think, yes, a lot of people think that we are an attacking style playing team, which we are. We got a lot of players going forward, but ultimately you need to defend if you want to play attacking. And so extremely happy from the goalkeeper to the back four. Whenever Matty's coming, obviously it's for McGinn this time around, but overall defensively we've been really, really solid, and today we needed a defensive performance to overcome a real team like Adelaide today.
What's the initial prognosis as far as was it his hamstring there?
Yeah, it's too early to say. With the fingers crossed that it's maybe not as serious as we first imagined. So we are hopeful with that, but we'll take all precautionary measures that needed to. Physio in the next 48 hours will give us a clearer indication as to what likely to happen with him. But as everyone knows, he's a huge loss to us. But having said that, we managed to go on and win the game without him. So again, shows that the squad and the players that we have, we're all on the same page.
You got fouled a few times in the first 10 minutes. I mean, I won't say do you have any issues with that. Carl Vitt was suggesting that players go down too easily in this league sometimes.
Well, the game has changed. The game is certainly not played in the physical manner that we used to play, and I can understand Carl's frustration in doing so. But ultimately, when you have someone as technically as Ollie, and he's always going to cause you problem, I won't say he's invite tackling, but you feel that you can actually get the ball from him, and he sort of suck you in many times. But we got to protect players like him. He's such a vital player, and it's such a big blow for us. But you can't go about whacking players, being late, in the first 10 minutes where he's got, 4 or 5 tackles repeatedly. So, I kind of sympathize with what Carl's saying, but ultimately we got to protect our players as well.
And Arzani's performance today, obviously a goal or assist, he hit the crossbar. I guess we all know what he can do in an attack sense, but you're probably looking for more complete things from him. Did you get that today?
I'm a little bit happier, I have to be honest. What we see of Arzani, we needed more from him. We know that he needs game time, and he's getting that here. But we need him to come to the party. We need him to show what we know he's capable of doing. Today we see Smith, and I still think there is a lot to come, but it's a step in the right direction where he's concerned. But I think as the league progresses, this goal will obviously give him confidence, as you said, an assist and a fantastic free kick as well that he was a bit unlucky with. I think overall he will be pleased, but he knows, and we know from working with the individual on a daily basis, how good he can be, and so I'm hoping that there is more to come.
Is that more on the defensive side?
Yeah, well, to be a player, you got to play in our system. We got a structure, we got a policy, we got a balance, we got a philosophy. You got to come in line with that. We want talent to express himself. I've been an attacker, but you have to have certain ingredients in the team. And defensively, we have to work as a unit as well as we attack from an attacking point of view. But when you have someone as good as him and as talented as him, he needs to do the ugly side of the game sometimes. And what we've seen a bit of everything with him today, but I feel like he will get stronger and better going forward. Yeah.
Knowing that 2-0 is always a dangerous scoreline, what were the words to the boys when the team led 2-0 to always hold out the game?
Yeah, well, as you mentioned, that crucial second goal for us to put us 2-0 up. We often see teams then switch off, and this is at this level tend to do that quite a lot. So I'm focusing on the concentration and make sure we keep calm and continue to do what we do. Make sure the positional play from our when we out of position, that we are defensively solid and we've been able to retain the ball as quickly and keep position. But it is always a dangerous position, but I'd rather be 2 up than anything else. So we're delighted to to obviously go on to win the game.
Dwight, Carl, you also spoke about the stop-start nature of the game and how that impacted the spectacle of it. Is that how you saw it?
Yeah, there was earlier on. There was a tip for tack earlier on in the first half. We expected it to be really frantic because two teams trying to get control of the game, and I think that during the game they wasn't able to. There was a lot of stop-start, as you can imagine. Uli obviously getting fouled, 5 times within 10 minutes, so the fluency in the game was never really there. Teams had to battle, and we knew it was going to be one of those kind of games today where you had to, hold your ground in defensive position, and we've been able to do that. But yeah, the game settled down a little bit. We've seen passive applying, but we'd have liked to control the game a little bit. But we know the game was going to be difficult, but we're delighted to obviously come out on top.
You mentioned a little bit there, but how is it for you as a coach when you can't play football and it's constantly, the game stopping, there's fouls here and there? Is that frustrating for you?
Not really. I've got over my playing time, so I know that the playing days are well and truly gone. Obviously, management is new to me, but I've always been a very cool, calm, collective kind of individual. I have to show control to my players, and I like to think I do that well on the sideline. When that moment of goals going in, maybe I get a little bit excited, but outside of that, I'm pretty much cool around the game time and make sure that the players can't feed off of me, because at the end of the day, as much as I can't get on the football pitch, but off the football pitch, I can certainly try and influence the game from that standpoint.
It looked like the game plan for Adelaide United was to target Davila, and you saw that with a number of fouls. How much of that substitution changed your game plan having to come in?
Well, he's a big loss. He's our captain. He's one of our talisman, if not the talisman in the team. We know when all he plays, it gives us a sense of control in that sort of middle area, which is a very crucial part of the football pitch. So him going out having to make us adjust a little bit from a tactical point of view. But lucky enough, we have experience in there. We got the young Charles to come in there. We know he has energy, maybe not quite the sort of the attributes of playing that role, but we know what we were going to get from him. And so we had to change a little bit, and that's part and parcel of the game from a tactical point of view. It helps me as a coach because you don't always have it your way. And lucky enough that the team has been able to have that fighting spirit to see the game through.
Lockie Rose came in for Anthony Carter this week after the I guess you could say very key miss last week against the Raw that could have cost you guys the win. How frustrating is that? Well, maybe frustrating is the right word. I apologise for that. What's it like knowing that you have such a good option that can come in to replace another good option, and that the option that's been brought in Lockie Rose can deliver?
Yeah, well, what we do here, we try to create a squad. The team is not just 11 players. What we've been very fortunate to build a squad. We got the backing from the CEO and the owners of the football club to make sure that every position is challenged. I think if we want to compete against the best teams in the A-League, we are only 3 years into, or third year into the A-League. We want to compete. This is what the owners want. This is what we want to be. We want to be in a position to challenge. So we needed to bring in some players to challenge some of these senior players. And you can see Jed Drew today. He's just made his first home A-League appearance today. So that's an encouraging sign. And we are a team here. We don't overlook the young players. We want to make sure those young players are pushing the senior players for position in the team.
Dwight, I don't know if you got to see much of the Northbridge season, of course, the junior club to MacArthur. How important is it to see players like, as you mentioned before, Lachlan Rose and Jed Drew, how important is it to see them improving every week, and why is the NPL New South Wales system important for the club going forward?
I think the young players have been overlooked here and not really a perfect system for them. I think that we couldn't believe our eyes when we looked at some of these young players, why they wasn't implemented into the senior setup. I think that's a step that we are very confident in, and we took the measures of inviting 5 of the young players up. Not only is good for experience, but how they will get the experience going forward and to be competitive. So when we looked at it and they was going to be having an off season, well, no. As far as I'm concerned, if they come up and make up our squad of what we have now, not only they will improve being able to develop their football as well, but certainly when we ask them to make that jump out, then they're not lagging behind. And so I'm a prodigy of coming through the ranks as a young player, so I understand it. So it's important that the league look at it and try to improve that area of it, because I think there is a lot of young players been lost in those categories.
Just last question. Yep. So you mentioned at the start the defense is getting to where you wanted to, but there was a lot of chances given up against Brisbane last week. There were a lot of key chances not given up against Adelaide, which were ruled out for offside or fouls or whatever. I guess how do you fix those gaps in defense? Because if any of those goals, either find the back of the net or were given, we're talking about very different.
Yeah, I'm sure that I can be critical about my team and my defensive unit, but how could I possibly be? Yes, there's always ifs and buts, and teams could score. But from a defensive point of view, you still got to be happy with a clean sheet. We played 7 games, we conceded 2 goals, and we scored 21 goals. So when you look at that, you can't have it all your way in football. You got to ride your luck, and maybe it's our lucky time at the moment. But from a defensive point of view, standpoint, we have we built that foundation. We got arguably probably the two best goalkeepers I've seen, and a defensive unit that continue to grow and get stronger and better. And I think as the season progresses, from a defensive point of view, we will get better, and then that's allow us to then play how we want to play going forward.
Were you disappointed that Arzani got booked? I suppose it's the rules and it has to happen, but did you have any ideas that he had a message on his vest under the shirt?
Say that again, sorry, I missed that.
Well, Arzani got booked after the goal.
Yeah.
He lifted up his shirt, there was a message on there.
Yeah.
Do you have any idea that it was there? Or
No, I have
Did you speak to him about it?
I have no idea, and I haven't looked at the replay to see what it is. I can only address that situation when I look at it, but I haven't got any clue at all. But the game has changed. You can't really celebrate anymore. When you score, you got to go to VAR to see if you score as well. So, we got to take that on board, and we got to stay within the boundaries of the rules of the game. We got to respect that.
Thanks, guys.
All right.
Thanks a lot.